Okay, so let's start. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a pleasure for me to be with you here today, and welcome to the webinar on trimethylaminuria. First of all, I would like to tell you that today we will have a very special guest, Florencia Braga Menendez, who is project director at ALAPA. She will tell you later what ALAPA is and some other things. So she's not in the meeting yet, but well, thank you, Flor, for joining. As you can see in this first slide, my name is Tatiana Gendulain, but you can call me Tati. I have a degree in chemistry with a focus on biotechnology, currently doing a PhD in chemical science at the National University of Cordoba. I'm also a teacher in genetics and biotechnology. And going a little more personally, I love coffee, books, nature, and what I like the most is spending time with my family and my friends. Something that I am always asked is, how did you get to work on a project related to trimethylaminuria? To make a long story short, in 2018, a doctor from a hospital in Cordoba came to our laboratory to see if we could do something about the lack of therapies for this disease. She had this patient with trimethylaminuria who had a very high degree of despair. So I started reading up on the subject because honestly, I had never heard the word trimethylaminuria before in my life. I decided at that time to do my PhD on this subject for mainly for two reasons. The first one is that the project stems from a demand from society. And I really believe that science must always be at the service of society. On the other hand, I would very much like to be able to contribute a grain of sand so that patients with trimethylaminuria can have a dignified and full life. So now let's go to what brings us together today, trimethylaminuria. What is trimethylaminuria? This can be defined as a metabolic disorder that occurs when the body is unable to metabolize certain nitrogen-containing compounds, such as trimethylamine. Trimethylamine has a fishy odor, and it begins to accumulate in the body, and it's released in the sweat, urine, reproductive fluids, and breath. So this causes TMAU patients to have a distinct body odor, okay? So there's so many molecules in the world that have odors, like for example, there's a molecule that gives lemons the odor that they have. There's also some molecules that give oranges the smell that they have. And trimethylamine is a molecule that has this fishy odor, and it's called fishy odors because it's related to fish, okay? So now that we know what trimethylaminuria is, I would like to ask you, TMAU patients, what feelings does this disease generate in you? So I will share with you, let me look for it. I will paste a link in the chat, and you just need to click there and complete the answers. There it is. We will take 2 minutes or 3 to complete this. Please let me know if you can get access to it. So only one person answer. Anyone else? And here we go.
I'm using my phone, so I don't know how to access the document.
Okay. Well, then you can answer the question in the chat if you want. That would be nice. I'm creating something called word cloud. I will show you soon. Anyone else want to share your feelings? Okay, 3 person. Okay. So now you can see in the screen what you're answering. The words are shame, anger, sadness, frustration, despair. Yeah. We will go back to the presentation. Okay, as your responses show, and well, trimethylaminuria does not cause physical disabilities, but it does have a great and negative impact on the psychosocial level. In general, people with TMAU tend to feel lonely, isolated, anxious, angry, despaired, among many other things. Okay, the fact that until now there's no cure for this disease and that the treatments are so limited, as we will see in a little while, increases these feelings that you mentioned. So we defined trimethylaminuria, but what happens with trimethylaminuria in our body? Well, humans incorporate through our diet, our normal diet, different precursors of TMA, yeah, trimethylamine. These precursors are L-carnitine, choline, TMAO, and they are present in so many foods, yeah, like meat and fish, dairy products, lentils, beans, and etc. Okay, so these precursors reach our gut, and they are our gut microbiota, the microorganisms that are in our gut, or specifically in our colon, transform these precursors into TMA. So then TMA reaches our bloodstream and it goes to the liver. And in the liver, 2 things can happen. If we have a functional HFMO3, that's the protein that's in charge of transforming TMA to TMA oxide, This TMA oxide has no odor at all. If this enzyme is functional, the TMA is transformed to TMAO, and then TMAO is released in urine. But there's other situation where people has a non-functional or dysfunctional HFMO3. So if this happens, then TMA is not transformed to TMAO, and it begins to accumulate in the body, and it's released in the different body fluids like urine, sweat, and breath. Yeah, and that's what makes people suffer from TMAU or trimethylaminuria. And here I want to make a point, and it is that every human, every person produces trimethylaminuria. There's trimethylaminuria in my body. There's trimethylaminuria in your body. There's trimethylaminuria in Floor's body, okay? The difference is that some people has a functional protein, so that trimethylamine is transformed to a compound that has no odor. And in patients with trimethylaminuria, that trimethylamine remains as that, and it has this fishy smell, okay? But it's not that you are doing something wrong, okay? It's not that. It's just a difference in this protein. So as I told you before, this the enzyme or the protein that's involved in the metabolization of trimethylamine, it's called FMO3. The FMO enzymes family is a group of 6 enzymes that are named FMO, followed by the numbers 1 to 6. And FMO3 is the most abundant in the liver and is the one that participates in the process of metabolizing trimethylamine. Okay, this enzyme is highly polymorphic, and some mutations alone or in combination are associated with enzyme dysfunction, yeah, and that's what produces trimethylaminuria. This enzyme participates in the metabolism of TMA, but also is involved in processing different drugs and in the protection of the organism against different environmental contaminants, okay? So it's not transforming TMA to TMAO, it's not its unique function, yeah, but it also metabolizes other things. So an important part in this disease is the diagnosis. And here I want to know if you are diagnosed for TMAU. I will share another link with you, and you just need to answer yes, I do, or no, I don't, okay? Let me look for the link. Here we go. There's the link. Again, you just need to click on there and you answer yes, I do, or no, I don't. I will share the results on my screen. Hi, Flor. How are you doing? Yeah, maybe it's the same, but you have to change page. Go to the second page. Do you see the new sheet or not? Okay, let me see. Let's. You should be able to go to page 2. I don't know why. Okay, can you
I'm not
answer?
able to go to page 2.
I don't know what happened, but can you answer in the chat? Are you diagnosed for TMAU or you're not? Okay, not diagnosed. Okay, no testing in Africa. Anyone else? Okay, waiting for blood test results. Come on, don't be shy. Okay, so we have 3 answers, and the 3 are no, I'm not diagnosed. Okay. Let's go back. So diagnosis of this disease, yeah, Trimethylaminuria, is not easy. I know it's not. There's no many places where you can get tested. And the testing consists of mainly 2 parts. Genetic testing and urine testing. With the genetic testing, the results you will get is to know if you have any mutations in the FMO3 gene. But does well, that result not necessarily will give you an insight in or a result saying yes, you have trimethylaminuria or you don't. Okay. With the urine testing or blood testing, you get the result of how much TMA do you release in urine. Okay, how much TMA or the TMA levels excreted in urine. If that result is too high and you have also mutations in your gene, probably there's high probabilities that you have TMAU. Okay. And here I want again to make a point. There's not many places that do this testing, and the testing is usually quite expensive. And I really think it shouldn't be that way. I think getting diagnosed is a question of rights, okay? It's human rights. You have the right to know what you have. And I also think it's a matter of identity, right? It's like saying, okay, my name is Tatiana. I live here. I'm 27 years old, and I have TMAU, okay? And that would allow you to know where path to follow, okay? Which path to follow. Saying, okay, now I need to go to a genetist, or now I need to find a good nutritionist or whatever, okay? But it's really, really important that we, and you, especially you patients with trimethylaminuria, fight for your rights. It's, again, a human right. So let's go now to the part Are we okay? Am I going too fast? Do you want to ask me something or?
I had a question with a prior slide.
Okay,
Could I
with
ask?
this one, with the diagnosis.
No, it had to do with the metabolization of the FMO3.
Okay, this one.
Yes, that you had mentioned that FMO3 metabolizes other things. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
the next one actually. I
Yeah.
was curious to what other things does it metabolize?
Okay. I can't tell you exactly the name of the drugs or contaminants, but I can search the names and send you via email. Is that okay?
Yeah, that would be perfect. Thank you.
There's no much research on this topic, um, so it's well, it's I know many people that started some treatments for I don't know skin, for example, and that made the TMAU condition worse. For example, so it's I think it's there's no a list of drugs or contaminants, but I will try to look up for that and share that with you via email. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Is that I had not heard about it recently, so I was impressed.
Yeah, it's. I think that's also a very interesting thing because diagnosis is also important for that. Okay, as doctors should take this in account. Okay, it's you can't give these doses of certain drug to a patient who doesn't suffer from trimethylaminuria and the same doses to a person who suffers from trimethylaminuria. You just need to adjust the the doses because the metabolization is different. So I think that's also important, an important thing for diagnosis. I see that there's another. Well, how much do you think the urine test should cost? I have no idea, but the genetic test here in Argentina, it's about $600. That's a really high price for us. And I did genetic testing, and I don't have any of the major SNPs. Do you think having multiple common? Yeah, definitely. The SNPs can cause TMU alone or in combination. One of the problems is that there's always new mutations being found, and that's again not a list of the mutations that cause trimethylaminuria. So probably it's it's I think it's probably. Okay, so I hope I answer your questions, and I will then send you that via email. And well, I would like now to go on, and on this part, I think maybe it's the part that you're most interested in, and that's the part of treatments. Okay, to date, trimethylaminuria has no cure, and only palliative measures exist, such as washing with acidic soap in combination with dietary restrictions of TMA precursors. Other available pharmacological treatments aim to reduce the generation and absorption of TMA, or focus on improving oxidation to the odorless TMAO. So the treatments that are available now are really limited, and there's again no cure. I would like to mention this 4 kind of treatments: precursor intake limitation, protonation of TMA, targeting of the gut metabolism, and targeting of the enzyme FMO3. Okay, so we will see each other in detail now. So the first one is limiting precursor intake. This is a common approach to lower systemic TMA levels, and this is reached limiting TMA precursors intake. If you remember, I told you that there's many precursors of TMA, and several food derived compounds are metabolized to TMA in the colon by bacteria that we have in our gut. Specifically, choline, carnitine, and TMAO have been shown to increase concentrations of urinary TMA. So this treatment option consists basically on a specific diet low in the precursors of TMA, and that make well, it's a really restrictive diet. Okay, you can't eat meat, you can't eat eggs, beans, lentils, dairy products. So it's even though it works in so many patients with trimethylaminuria, and it helped them to lower the amount of TMA excreted, it's also quite, I would say, dangerous, okay, because you are not getting all the nutrients that our body needs. So another approach that it's usually combined with this limiting precursor intake is protonation of TMA. When we protonate TMA, what we do is reduce the volatility of excreted TMA. Yeah, so it's not that volatile, and it's not that smelly. Okay, so this strategy have been validated for the management of the fish-like body odor because TMA excretion is in sweat is a significant source of the odor. So in this approach, what you have to do is a frequent washing with low pH soaps in combination with the dietary that we were talking about before. Okay, so when applied on the skin on a regular basis, acidic body lotions and soap fully convert excreted TMA to the non-smelling acid, reducing the body odor. Yeah, this is like the I don't know how to call it, but it's like the main approach that is being used today, combining a special diet with this low pH soaps and lotions. So deodorizing TMA by masking it with another stronger smell has also been explored as a potential approach, but there's no definitely results on this field because it remains as a challenge to create something, a formula that can mask the TMA odor, and it's not well dangerous for your skin. So it's something that it's being researched, but it's not ready yet. Okay, so the third approach is targeting gut metabolism. As I told you before,
You're muted. Your sound. Your sound.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, sorry, my internet just went off. So I can share my presentation, but that was the last slide, so I will explain the rest of the things without the presentation. It's still recording, okay. So where did you lose me? In which part?
The last thing you had mentioned was targeting the gut metabolism.
Okay, great. So targeting gut metabolism is something very interesting. As I told you before, trimethylamine is generated in our gut by the action of microorganisms that live there. So there's many or some approaches or different strategies for this, but well, we have to be very careful with this, because TMAO was found to be associated with some cardiac diseases. So it's something that when you use this approach, you need to keep in mind. So thus, in this sense, there's different options. The first one is using antibiotics. And because TMA production from dietary precursors is dependent on its metabolism by intestinal microbiota, as I told you before, antibiotics have been assessed as a treatment for TMA. And antibiotics are used to deplete intestinal bacteria that produce TMA, okay? So although antibiotics can alleviate the main symptoms of TMAU patients, their chronic use should be avoided if there's no medical emergency, and their extensive consumption could contribute to the emergence of antibiotic resistance, and that's something dangerous, because if you get an infection later, those antibiotics wouldn't work against that. Okay, so it's not something that we can use chronically. There's many antibiotics that are used for this purpose. One of them is metronidazole. The other one is neomycin. and the third one is rifaximin. Okay. Again, this is not something that you can use chronically because it carries other dangerous stuff, and it's not a definite solution. Okay. The other thing is, and it's an emerging approach using probiotics. I'm sure you heard about probiotics. Probiotics are bacteria that can alter the microbial metabolism by implantation or colonization, and they exert so many health promoting functions, such as stimulating immunity when present in sufficient number. Okay, so various or so many mechanisms are associated with the beneficial effects of probiotics in this sense. One of them is production of inhibitory substances such as bacteriocins, competition with pathogenic bacteria for nutrients, blockage of addition sites for pathogenic bacteria, degradation of toxins and blockage of toxin receptors, among others. Yeah, so they are a very good option. You can, I don't know, well, probiotics are not the same in the world, so you will need to find which one you can get in your country. I don't know where you all come from, but there's many options. There's one bacteria specifically, the one probiotic that is being used. I will also send you the name via email later. So this is well, this is a good approach, I think. This is something that, well, it can help you with your TMAU problem, and also generate some beneficial health. Well, yeah, it could also be beneficial for your health. Okay, so there's also some other things that are being used, like small molecules or oral sequestering agents that what do is just sequester the trimethylamiine. And the other one is laxatives. These laxatives what do is just shorten the time that the food is in your gut. So that's well, that makes bacteria to have less time to produce trimethylamiine, but it also has some consequences, and it's also you can't use them like forever. Okay, so there's also this approach, the targeting FMO3. And here I want to tell you that depending on the mutations that you have in your gene, your protein can work in different levels. So you can have a protein that doesn't work at all, or you can have a protein that have certain grade of function. So this approach tend to improve this remaining activity and or restoring FMO3 activity. Okay, this I'm sure you all heard about this, about people using vitamin B2 or riboflavin, and this vitamin is thought as being used by the protein as a cofactor. This protein needs always a cofactor to work. So if you give that can act as a cofactor, then you get a protein with an improved activity. Okay. Any questions?
I have one.
Okay.
How come some people are susceptible to this and others are not?
To what exactly? To vitamin B2?
Okay, you said it's a gene, a problem with the genes. I think there's a primary one, the people who are born with it, and then there's a secondary one, people who get it. So the
Okay.
people who get it, how come some people get it and others don't?
Well, that's not clear. It's thought that in our life, like later in our life, we can get some mutations in the gene, and that's what caused the trimethylaminuria type 2. But the gene is also mutated. The difference is that in the trimethylaminuria type 1, you are born with your gene mutated, and in trimethylaminuria type 2, you get the mutations later in your life. But it's not really clear how that happens. I don't know if that's what you were asking.
Yes, it was the question.
Okay, yeah, there's so much research left to do in this in this disease. I think it's getting more. I don't know if the word is popular, but we need to just show society and the science community that this disease exists, that this is real, and that we need to fix this. Okay, we need solutions for this. So that's a work that will take plenty of energy, and it's a process. Okay. So there's so many things that remain unclear, but I think we need to fight for that again, and we need to show the world that this is happening and that we should be caring about this. Okay. The research I'm doing, I will explain it short because Flor also needs to talk. I'm searching for complementary therapies for trimethylaminuria. I work with bacteria, I work with probiotics, and we are trying to generate a genetically modified bacteria that express the protein you are lacking or that's not working in your organism. We have that bacteria. We now need to go on with so many other experiments, and it's a long way, but I think we are going well. Okay, we are doing well. There's, as you know, for these things to be approved is a long period of time. It's just doing some in vitro experiments, and then in animals, and then in humans, and etc. etc. It's a long way, but that's the main idea of my research.
Are you able to induce the condition in animals?
Yeah, you can use special animals that have controlled microbiota, so you can and you can give them a diet with high amounts of the precursors of TMA, so they produce a high amount of TMA, and you can or you can test your bacteria on those animals.
Okay. Are you able to make the animal to be like us, or it's just an ordinary animal that is given excess TMA causing food, or are you able to block and make it just to be like us exactly?
Can you repeat the last part of the question, please?
Are you able to make the gene defective in the animal so that it becomes like us?
Yes, you can always make them. It's not easy and it's not cheap, but yes, you can. You can have a model of Trimethylaminuria in animals.
Thank you.
A pleasure. So if you don't have more questions, I would like to thank you all. Yeah, Flo, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I'm sorry. I have my question also.
Yeah.
What kind of model of TMA you in animals you have in what kind of animal?
No, we don't. We don't have any. But you can. Well, you can make mice.
In mice.
Yeah, yeah. The idea would be to work with mice.
Okay. There is any place in the world in which you can find these kind of models ready for work?
As long as I know, there's no such model in the world. What everyone does is using this mice that have a really controlled microbiota. So you make sure that they have certain microorganisms, and you just give them a diet with high amounts of the precursors of TMA, and then you give whatever you want, a blocker or a bacteria or a capsule or whatever, and you see if that help the animal to decrease the amount of TMA excreted in especially in urine and also in blood.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering that maybe in the CEMET in Argentina, we are preparing our next bioterio, and so it could be a project to have mice prepared for you.
Yeah, that would be. I think that would be great. The only thing is that as there's so many mutations in these genes, and different grades of dysfunction, I don't know which one is the best to use to create this mice, but I think it's a good option.
Okay.
It would be nice. Let's talk later about that.
Yes. And if you know who can help us to prepare those models, I can start to approach them, because we need to prepare. Yes, please.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Flor. So okay, that was all I wanted to tell you. In the form, many people asked me to just give you the name of the supplements or like the brands. I'm not a doctor. I've got a degree in chemistry. I'm a PhD student. I'm not allowed to indicate treatments or similar. So please just two things. The first one is you need to find a doctor that believes in your well, that who believes in you and can handle this. Okay, it's a rare disease. Most of the medical staff is not prepared to diagnose these things, so you just need to find a doctor that can handle this. Yeah, and for that, I think and it's related to the second thing, is you need to really be a community. Being a community will allow you to share contacts, to share practices, to share advices, to organize, to raise your voice. Again, this is a matter of health. This is a matter of human rights. And you have the right to get practice and have the right to get a treatment. And you have the right, and most important, to get a good life. Okay, so those would be my three advices. I think it's you have this community, and well, you need to start changing. Well, it's not changing, but sharing contacts and stuff with you. And well, Flo, I'm sure she will talk about that more. So Flo, I give you
Wha-
the
wha-
word.
One
Okay.
one last thing.
Yeah.
One last one before you change over. Are you collaborating with other doctors? I think there's one other doctor who was doing extensive research, and I think he's almost done. I don't know whether
Uh,
you know about him.
no, I'm not. Do you mean a doctor like in a hospital, or a doctor in the lab?
A research doctor. There's a
Oh,
group
okay.
called MIBO.
No,
MIBO.
on that point, okay, it's good to know. I'm not. I'm just I'm working alone, but I'm open to collaborate with other doctors. I think the it's important because we need to do this fast. Okay, I'm open to share my knowledge and to share my results and to share research, so we can get to the point of getting a treatment fast enough. So thank you for the contact. I will try to reach this professor.
Okay. If you share your contacts and maybe if you have this recording in MP3, we can try and connect both of you together.
Uh, Please say again. Flo, can you mute your microphone? Sorry, yeah, now.
Okay. I was saying if you share your contacts, how we can reach you maybe on the chat,
Yeah.
and if you can make this recording into MP3 audio, then we can share with him, and then we can see how we can connect both of you together.
Okay, that would be really nice. The recording will be in YouTube, so everyone will have access to this. And I will just give you my. Let me see in the chat. I will put my my email. You can always reach me there. And please do not hesitate to contact me for whatever you need, okay? Just if you have a question, if you just want to talk about the topic, if you want to tell me something that you know and I don't, because I'm not, I mean, I work with trimethylaminuria, but I'm not the expert on trimethylaminuria. So I would be really glad to talk to you and to hear your thoughts and your proposals. And so please feel free to send me an email and we can chat there. Okay, if there's no more questions, Flora, the microphone is yours.